Properly preparing and soldering wires is essential in electronics. You need a proper tool to strip the insulation, something like this wire stripper. It is very important not to leave a long bar wire exposed. Ideally, strip back about 2 wire diameters. That is enough for tinning and the soldering that follows. Liquid flux works very well for soldering stranded wires, but make sure it is in no clean. You need roll zero flux class. If you use some unknown or active flux, after a while the wire can start to corrode under the insulation. This is especially important for automotive wiring, drone soldering and any devices where long-term reliability matters. First, the wire needs to be tinned, which means saturated it with solder. If the strands have spread apart, twist them together slightly, but not too tightly. Leave some space between the strands for the solder. Use a temperature of 300 to 320 degrees Celsius for leaded solder and of 330 to 350 degrees Celsius for lead-free solder. Don't heat the wire for too long. I apply liquid flux to the wire, then use the soldering iron tip with solder to tin the wire. See how the solder has penetrated into the strands. That's it. Stop. Wire insulation doesn't like high temperatures. Don't try to solder without flux. The solder will not penetrate into the strands. Instead, it will simply sit on the surface, because solder doesn't flow properly without flux. Flux is what helps to solder wick into the strands. Next, you need to pre-tin the PCB pad. This makes soldering the wire much quicker and helps prevent it from overheating. I apply flux to the PCB pad and add solder with soldering iron tip. Alright, great. Now that the wire and the PCB pad are ready, and solder the wire into place. Ideally, after soldering, the wire insulation should be close to the solder joint, and the insulation must not get into the solder. There should not be more bare wire exposed than necessary for soldering. Depending on the size of the PCB pad, think about how long the tinning wire needs to be. If there is too much excess, cut the wire with wire cutters and leave exactly as much wire as needed for that specific solder joint. A hidden problem can occur here. Make sure individual strands are not sticking out to the sides. They are hard to notice, but they can cause a short circuit. Make sure all the strands stay together. This is especially important when wires are soldered into through holes instead of onto pads. It is very easy to miss a stray strands among a dozen wires soldered close together. You can clean the soldered area with any PCB cleaner. Even though the flux is not clean, it is still recommended to clean the board because dust can stick to the flux. There is always some residues left on the PCB after soldering. You have to admit, working with a clean circuit board is much more enjoyable. To learn how to choose the right wire for soldering electronics, watch this video, link in the description. In it, I explain the different types of wire insulation and which one is best for soldering electronic devices. Subscribe to the channel. I have many more useful electronic soldering tips to share with you. Like and leave a comment. See you next video. Bye bye.